Hello fellow guitarists and bassists, and today I wanted to make an update to my review of this Ibanez RGA742fm, and this update will be from the perspective of 4 years of use. So I own this guitar for a bit more than 4 years now, and I wanted to inform you how it fared over the years. So let's start the headstock. Nothing happened here, except I dinged it a few times. The original tuners were swapped out for a graphic ratio ones, and they feel amazing, like new, but no issues with the original ones were present. I simply wanted a locking tuners on my, at that moment, main guitar. No problems with the nut, like brand new. I would say that in terms of tuning stability, it doesn't hinder it in any shape or form. Tuning stability here is rather great. Not the best. I would say that my made in Japan Ibanez is just a tiniest bit better, but definitely in terms of tuning stability, this guitar is great. Truss Rod here also does its job rather well. So the neck is almost straight, it has just a tiniest bit of relief, so I can set it up how I want it. It's a dual action one, and to be honest, after 3 years of use, I simply stopped adjusting it at all. So I simply leave it how it is. So I adjusted it, if I'm correct, last autumn, so it was like a year ago, and I didn't touch it since. And to your information, we here have a rather hot and very humid summer, and I would say mildly cold winters. So overall, the temperature fluctuations will be like 40 degrees Celsius, or even just a bit more. I will have it somewhere here in Fahrenheit, but I would say it's not the best environment for a guitar, because the wood don't like two things: temperature and humidity changes. And because when the humidity changes, it warps, and when the temperature changes, it also warps. But never minding that, the neck is dead straight from every perspective, and no issues with this, which means wood was dried perfectly. You can feel just a tiniest gap in few places. You can just feel a tiniest gap between the fretboard and the neck, which means maybe one of the wood shrink just a little bit more than other, but it present not in every spot. So for example, here it's like brand new, and here you can feel just the tiniest hump. Nothing crucial, and the guitar feels amazing. And the funniest part is that from this side of the neck, absolutely no humps are present. Going to the neck, the only thing that changed over the years were these like dirty spots. It happens mostly on a budget instruments because on the factory they simply spray it once and don't double check. So there was like a spot without a finish, or I simply removed it with my finger, which I don't really believe, because if it was truthful, I probably would have done this in a lot of different places. So what's the problem here is that this is the dirty mark on the wood itself, so it's rather hard thing to remove. So you need to remove the neck, sand it down, so sand down this like dirty spot, and afterwards refinish the neck, which is like a very long and expensive process, and I don't want to do this. You also gain like this a bit dirty spots here, another one here at this kind of an edge, which is the place where the finish have problem sticking to, and the other one right over here. You probably won't be able to see it, so I will have a close-up picture. But still, the neck feels amazing. It started to go south a bit after 4 years of extensive playing, so it's the thing you should expect. And I personally love the feel of the satin neck that glossed out after years of playing. I love it. But it's a subjective thing. The thing that is not subjective is frets. Frets here are made out of nickel, which means they will wear out. And they did. So over the 4 years of playing, Of course, the frets wore down a little bit, especially you can feel this on the higher strings. They kind of developed a tiny grooves in certain places. You can feel some of them. Because of this, I was forced to up the action just a little bit, but still it's 1/14 millimeters pick that I can still stick underneath the 12th fret, which means the action is still very low. These frets have resource still in their current shape, and they can survive at least 1 or 2 fret levelings. Yet probably when the time will come, I will swap them out for stainless steel ones. Going to the body of the guitar, of course we're having a few glossed out spots where it has the most contact with me, and except but this, there is basically no issues. I would say the finish just a bit fragile because it's the place where I put the guitar on a stand, and it has like a soft padding underneath it, but it's still chipped out, just the tiniest pieces of finish. Doesn't look that nice. To be honest, I would not expect this from this guitar, and all other things that were rested on this stand do not have this issue. Also, you can see that in this place I'm not only wear down the finish, I also wore down the paint or the stain on the body, and you can see the original wood popping out here, simply because I put the guitar like this when I'm playing. In terms of electronics, absolutely no issues. So pickups work amazingly, selector works amazingly, no problems with volume or tone knob. Tone knob works only in 2 positions. It's only on or off, so there is no like middle position. So probably it renders this guitar a bit useless for jazz playing in its stock configuration. In terms of volume knob, I had a few instances of cracking inside of it, but it can be easily fixed by simply spraying the contact cleaner in. Also, I had an issue with volume knob, which I mentioned in my original review. It's completely rusted off. So the problem is that some run-off knobs had this issue where they kind of like messed up the production, I guess, and the paint was very easy to chip out. So basically, if you start turning the knobs, the paint will chip away and the metal underneath will rust. It's very unpleasant feeling. You will need to swap out the knobs if you have this issue. Some little parts of rusted metal will fall into the pot and will be one of the reasons of the cracking sound, because after I changed the original knob on this Goto one, this problem became far less prominent. So right now I didn't spray it for I think 1.5 years. In terms of bridge, it did amazingly, so no serious issues appeared over time. The only other thing to note is that there is a little bit of rust on some of the pole pieces, especially ones that were closest to my hands. But from functional perspective, it did not change a thing. Also, there is like a black anodized finish came off of this bridge screws, but from the functional perspective, once again, nothing happened. So overall, from 4 years of playing, I would say that this guitar fared rather well. I didn't use it for live playing and gigging, so I mostly used it at home for practicing and recording, but I believe that it is the main use case for this guitar because, let's be honest, it was never positioned as some kind of a touring instrument, but overall, I think it fared rather well, and I can recommend it from the perspective of the long run. If you want to know more about it, in terms of specs, how it feels, tom demos, you can check out my full review on my channel, or it will pop up somewhere here, or you can find it in the description. So I'll see you there if you're interested. Also, if you have some questions, you can ask them right away. I still stand on my original opinion on this guitar. That is great. To be honest, it's a rather good instrument. If we won't consider the price, if we consider the price, it punches far above its weight. Sounds and feels amazing. So I would say you can get this one. It's a good buy. And at this moment, I would say that this guitar fared the test of time very, very well. At this point, I wish you to have a great day, play good guitars, and bye. Visually, there is just a little bit of rust on some of the pole pieces, especially the one. Go away!